Hello, everyone. Thank you for stopping by. If you've been here before and you're visiting with us again, I want to welcome you back. And if this is your first time visiting our channel, I want to welcome you. So today I want to share a story with you, but I don't really know what to call this story, okay? I guess you can say this is the story of when God sent a guardian angel to help me out of a potentially dangerous situation that I found myself in. So this happened a long time ago in Southern California. Me and my mother had gone to San Bernardino, California to visit my sister who lived there at the time. And I was living in Glendale, California, and that used to be a good maybe 45 or 50-minute commute. So it was on a Sunday, and me and my mother were heading back home after seeing my sister and her family. And it was toward dusk, and we were on a stretch of freeway that was kind of desolate, and there weren't too many cars passing by, and there wasn't a lot of exits on the freeway. And call boxes, they still had call boxes back then, but they weren't anywhere around. Okay, and this was before cell phones became popular. So I didn't even own a cell phone at the time. So we're heading back home, and like I said, it was heading toward dusk. It was starting to get dark, and we're on the freeway, and everything's fine. But all of a sudden, my one of the lights on my dashboard came on, and it was notifying me that the car was running hot. And so I automatically got worried, and I pulled off to the side, and I don't know anything about car engines, okay? I just knew that the light was saying your engine is running hot. And so I popped the hood open, and I tried to see if there was anything visible that I could see. And my mother's in the car with me. She was elderly and frail. And I'm just there thinking to myself, God, what am I going to do? It's starting to get dark, and there are very few cars passing by. And the ones that are passing by, they're just like speeding, okay? And so I was concerned for our safety because I didn't want to end up being local news on the evening channel, okay? You know what I'm talking about. So I closed the hood, and I went back inside the car, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, God, what are we going to do? It was something where on my own, I could have walked the long distance to the nearest exit. But my mother was elderly and frail, and she couldn't do that. And I was worried about leaving her by herself in the car for I don't know how long. And so I'm just there sitting in the car, and my mother's like, ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué pasa? What's wrong? What's wrong? And I'm trying to keep calm, okay, because I didn't want two women all of a sudden getting all freaked out, okay? So I was just telling her, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Don't worry. And again, I didn't have a cell phone. That was before cell phones, okay? And so I'm sitting in the car, and I'm just thinking to myself, Lord, help me. Help us. I don't want to have a bad situation come upon us because we're stuck here, and it's getting dark very quickly. And I was sitting there and trying in my head to come up with solutions. But again, I don't know anything about fixing car problems, okay? And so I'm there just praying to God and saying, Lord, help us, help us. We need your help. And all of a sudden, I looked in my rearview mirror and a white car, and it was one of those long, old, like Cadillacs, gas guzzler cars. It was an old car, and I saw it in the rearview mirror, and it started to inch closer on the breakdown lane. It was inching closer to us, and it stopped a good few feet away. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, help me, help us. Because I didn't know who was in the vehicle, okay? And I didn't tell my mother what I could see in the rearview mirror. But all of a sudden, I saw someone get out of the driver's side and start walking toward us. And my first thought at the time was, Lord, who have you sent? You sent Moses to fix my car? Because that's what it looked like. It was an old man, well, not very old, but he was an older looking man. And he was tall, and he had a white beard that came all the way down to his chest area. And this is what kind of freaked me out, that made me think, Moses? He was wearing like a smock, the kind you would see on in the olden times. It was just a white smock, okay? And you could tell he, around his waist, he had like a rope tied around his waist, like something you'd see Jesus wearing, right? And he was wearing those kind of sandals. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, Lord, you sent Moses to help us out? So he came over to the driver's side, and I rolled my window down a little bit. And he asked me if there was anything he could help us with. And I explained to him, the car is running hot, and I don't know what to do. And so he said, okay, don't worry. He said, just pop the hood open and I'll take a look at it. Now, let me tell you, the thing about this man, there was something about him, I don't know how to say it, his presence, his, the feeling, that's not a good word, his presence, his personality, there was something about it that automatically calmed me down, because he seemed like a very, very kind and gentle person. And I wasn't afraid. And so I popped the hood, and he opened it up, and he started looking inside, and I stayed inside the car, okay? And a short time later, he came over to my window, and he said, I found what was wrong with your car. He said, your radiator hose has sprung a hole, and that's why your car is running hot. And so he said, but don't worry, let me go get my toolkit, and I'm going to fix it for you. And so he went back to his car, and I was looking the whole time, looking at what he's doing in the car, because I wanted to make sure he wasn't coming back with a rifle or something. And I noticed that there were passengers in the car as well. And then they ended up getting out, and it was two of them. It was a woman and a man. And they are dressed identical to him. They're also wearing the white robes with a rope tied around their waist and long hair. The woman had long hair, and the man also, the beard and the long crazy hair all over the place. And they came, the three of them walked back to the driver's side. And so at that point, I said, let me get out of the car just to talk to them, okay? And it turns out the two passengers that got out of the car, they were deaf and mute. And so they were communicating with Moses with sign language. And the woman put her hand on my shoulder and was like patting me and communicating with me. It's okay. It's okay. And there was something about the three of them that seemed very gentle and kind. And so I was just thankful that it didn't turn out to be a bad situation. And so Moses, I call him Moses, okay? Moses started tinkering with my motor and putting things together and tightening things. And so he says to me, well, I patched you up well enough so that you're able to get to the next exit. And he said, I know that exit. He said, and there's a gas station there. And what I want you to do, he said, I want you to drive very slowly, because he had just patched it, like I said, just enough so that I could drive it to the nearest exit, go to the gas station. And he said, I'm going to follow right behind you. He said, so don't worry. And he said, I'm going to get a part that you need that's going to truly fix the problem, and you won't have to worry about getting all the way back home. And so that's what I did. I drove real slowly with my blinkers on, and he was right behind me the whole time, just driving very slow. And we got off on the next exit, which was a good distance away. And I drove to the gas station, and he says to me, let me go inside and buy the parts that you need. And I said to him, well, let me give you money to pay for the things. And he said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And I said, no, I have to pay you. I said, you're already doing a very kind thing by helping me out. And he said, don't worry. He said, it's covered, okay? What did he mean by that? It's covered. Who's paying you? And so he went inside and he purchased a couple things there, and he started getting busy with the engine, and his companions were right next to him, and they were like looking at me and smiling. They couldn't talk, okay? They were deaf and mute, but they were, like telling me, it's okay, don't worry. And so he finally fixed it. Now, we still had over a half-hour drive before I got home, okay? And he says to me, look, he says, it's fixed. You don't have to worry about this, but I want to make sure 100% that you're going to be well. He says, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow right behind you all the way until you get to your main turnoff to go home. He said, and from there, I'll just continue on my path, and then you can go on your way. And I said, you don't have to do that. I felt bad. And he said, don't worry. He said, don't worry. And so that's what he did for a good 45 minutes. He drove right behind me, and we were driving slow. And then once I got to the turnoff that I needed to go, he just honked his horn and he waved to me, and I went right, and he continued straight. And I had even asked him, I said, please give me your address so I can send you a check. I couldn't see him doing all those things for me and not giving him anything. And he said, don't worry. He said, it's covered. So he went on his way, and I made it home safely. And that's just an example of the kind of things God has done for me in my life. And it turns out, okay, I need to go back a little bit. It turns out the reason why they were dressed like that, okay, he told me that they had been coming from the Renaissance Fair, and that's why they were dressed in like those long robes and wearing the leather sandals. But I say to you, this man looked just like Moses. White, crazy hair, long white crazy hair all over the place, like he hadn't cut it in years, and a beard and mustache that went way down. It hadn't been trimmed in years. And the two passengers, there was something about them that just gave me a sense of calm. I was no longer scared, okay? I knew that those individuals had been brought to me by Christ. And maybe they were my guardian angels, okay? I know we have guardian angels. We just don't see them, you know. Sometimes they might make their presence known to us like they did. But I thought it was beautiful. And then they pulled up in a white, beat up, like Cadillac. And it was white. And everything about the story just told me this was something that was worked on your behalf by Jesus Christ. He wanted you to get home safely. And that's exactly what happened. And I don't know the man. He didn't tell me his name. And I've even asked him. I said, what's your name? I wanted to know his name. And he said, it's not important. It's not important. He said, it's not important. And he didn't want money. And he didn't want to give me his address because he said it's not important. So I just wanted to share that story with you. And look, that happened maybe 20 years ago. And I'm still talking about that man that came into my life at a moment where things could have gone very bad, okay? But they didn't, because God stepped in and sent me 3 guardian angels to watch over me and get me and my mother back home safely. And I get emotional, okay, whenever I think about all the things that God has done in my life. It's just amazing, okay? And sometimes I don't feel worthy of the things He does for me, because I'm a sinner just like everybody else, okay? I have my flaws and I'm a sinner, but I try hard to live a life that God would find favorable. And I want God to one day, I don't want Him to meet me outside the pearly gates, okay, and tell me I never knew you. I want Him to swing the gates open and tell me, come in, my faithful servant. The banquet table is waiting, and that's going to be a beautiful day. So that's what I strive to do. Every day, I try to strive to be the best person I can be. Sometimes I succeed and sometimes I fail miserably. But I always ask for forgiveness. And if I've hurt people, I try to the best of my ability to apologize and say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And I'm never too proud to say that, okay? Who am I to be proud, right? So I hope you got some inspiration from this video, okay? I try and post inspirational videos. And maybe by my little videos, I can reach someone out there in the vastness and touch somebody and lift their spirits up and let them know that they are loved by Christ so very much, okay? And listen, I've been getting messages from some long-haul truck drivers. They've been contacting me and telling me that they appreciate my messages. And I thank all of you guys that come and watch the videos and that you subscribe, okay? Go out and be a beacon in somebody's life, okay? Go out and do little random acts of kindness. It doesn't take a lot. Sometimes it just means you going up to someone and being kind to them, saying a kind word. So I hope you got something positive from this video, okay? And I want you to know that God loves you so very much. And don't ever forget it. And don't ever let Satan make you doubt, okay? Because Satan is all about bringing us down. Listen, Satan knows his destiny. He knows where he's going to spend eternity, and he wants company, okay? Don't be his next door neighbor, okay? So don't let Satan mess with you and fool with you and make you think that you're not loved by God or that you're not worthy of God's love, okay? So thank you again for stopping by. Subscribe to our channel if you will, please. Share the video if you think someone will get something from it. Hit the notification bell and on and on and on, right? Come back and visit with us. Stay safe and stay blessed, okay? God loves you very much.